Hi, my name is Misha Calvert, and this is Film on Tape, an audio library of everything that I have learned as a filmmaker. I really hope that this is helpful to you in some way. And if it is, feel free to check out my website, mishacalvert.com. You can see my writing and directing there, and you can also sign up for very occasional emails that I send. All right, on to the show. Today, I'm going to talk about how to add 2 more hours to your day. I'm teaching a class right now, and I dropped the very hot take on them the other night that if all artists in film and television dedicated a 40-hour work week to their business, that they would figure out how to make money from their work as an artist within 1 year. Naturally, everyone freaked because they're putting in like 2 to 4 hours a week on their business. Well, most regular people work at least 40 hours a week. They go to an office or wherever, 9 to 5, that's like the expected normal work week, at least at the time of recording. So why would you expect your career as, let's say, an actor to go anywhere if you are not doing close to 40 a week for the first year of your business? And unfortunately, a lot of us artists, we have to have day jobs. There's so many of us, right, trying to do this work. The competition is steep and the market is saturated. So that leaves us with not a lot of time left from our day job in order to carve out to do our creative job. So I hope that this episode is helpful in helping you to figure out how to save time and create time in your already busy schedule so that you can have more time to work on your art and your business. Number 1, you need to get more sleep. A lot of people look at a limited number of hours in the day and they think, well, if I sleep less, I can get more done. No. Get more sleep because quality is more important than quantity. That's a theme that's going to run throughout my little list here today of how to add time to your day. So we need 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep to be healthy. If you do not, the productivity and the quality of your work is going to suffer, especially if you start stacking day after day of sleep deprivation on top of each other. I read a study that was done that measured people who got 6 hours of sleep at night, which is only depriving of 1.5 hours for the recommended levels. And testosterone levels dropped by 10 to 20% the next day. That's crazy to me. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things that are failing at 6 hours of sleep. I know that I feel, even at 6 hours, I feel insane. I should not be trusted to drive. I am terrible to get along with. I'm so cranky the next day. Even after just 6 hours, I start questioning, like, should I even do this? Am I on the right path? What have I done with my life? Just like those really not helpful negative thoughts start to come in at the 6 hour mark. It's crazy. So, whereas if I've gotten 8, it's going to be a good day. Almost no matter what comes at me that day, 8 hours, I can handle it. I'm good. It's going to be a great day. So all I need to say is Google this because the science is there. 7.5 to 9 hours sleep, and you have my full permission as a fellow artist to do that. Can I jump in for 1 second and just tell you that I love coaching people? I've been doing it for over a decade, working with high net worths, executives, and now more artists, a lot of actors, a lot of writer-directors, people looking to activate their creativity. I freaking love it. The thing that I like most about it is that we really, really get results, whether that's bringing in 5 or 6 figures more of income, if it's getting signed by a manager or an agent, if it's booking a Broadway show. I have helped my clients do all of these things. You can find out more at clubvermilion.com. Or you can always send me an email at info@clubvermillion.com. I would love to speak to you on the phone about it. You can sign up for a free call. So wherever you want to get to, I would love to help you get there. Okay, back to the show. The second thing that I can recommend, and this is as somebody who routinely works 80 hours a week. I take 1 day off a month. But what I'm about to tell you has changed my life. This is perhaps the thing that single-handedly, aside from sleep, allows me to be as productive as I am, which is to do the hardest thing of my day first. You may have heard other entrepreneurs and motivational speakers talk about this. They're totally right. If you do the hardest thing first, you then have a boost of confidence to do your next hardest thing. And no matter what, you will feel like your day was a success. Even if you get none of the littler things done, if you just do the one hardest thing, you will have had a productive day by your own measure. And when you first wake up, you have more brain energy. You may have sleep inertia, which makes you sleepy, but you actually have literally more energy at the top of your day than at any other time of day because you haven't used your energy yet. It takes energy to think, like your brain uses energy to produce conscious thought. So you just have more brain energy available to you after you've woken up. So if you're trying to do something hard, the best time is sometime in the first part of the day. Once your sleep inertia has worn off and you're thinking clearly, try to knock it out of the way and do this before you check emails, check text messages, look at social media, definitely before you look at social media. Try to get the one hardest thing done for between 1 to 4 hours at the top of your day before doing anything else, and then take a break and respond to people, etc. But that one thing has just, it's amazing. It's so radically changed my life. I recommend it to everybody. Something else that's incredibly helpful is to delete your social media apps until you're ready to post. This makes it impossible to scroll on your social media because I read somewhere that the average TikTok user is now on there for 58 minutes a day. That's basically an hour a day. An hour a day, 7 hours a week. That's almost a full workday. TikTok users have a 5-day work week and a 1 day of a TikTok day, and then a 1 day of rest. That is mind-blowing. I have not put that together until just now. So if you want to avoid doom scrolling, just because these apps are so addictive, they're built to be addictive, the colors, the noises, the flashes, the everything, just delete the app. Re-download it whenever you're ready to post again. Or if you want to give yourself a treat and scroll, then, really treat it like crack. Treat it like crack and you're a crackhead. And I don't know if that's, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But I just did. So if you want to avoid the addictiveness of the apps, I suggest just delete them and then only re-download them when you're ready to post. And then after you post it, delete them again. Another thing that has radically changed my productivity is to only make phone calls when I'm en route to a destination. So that means when I'm walking somewhere, when I'm driving somewhere, occasionally when I'm biking somewhere and I'm on headset. So obviously that's not like for important calls like therapy or got to call your parents because they're sick or, some really important stuff. Obviously not. I will take it in my living room, but most calls I really do try to make when I'm walking around and either getting my steps in or going for a run or just have to get from point A to point B, running errands. I found that really saves me a lot of time, and it's really nice after a meal as well because you actually digest better if you're going for light movement after a meal. I just learned that, and so now I try to get out and run my errands after lunch and do my phone calls when I'm doing that. And I really recommend it. I'm thinking of a couple folks I know who run a little bit anxious, and they're always texting me back within like moments of me sending them a text. And I have really moved away from anxious texting. I used to be a very anxious texter. I used to be like that. And now I try to avoid unnecessary calls, texts, and tasks whenever possible. It took a while to break from that habit of doing things sort of impulsively or anxiously just because I had a lot of energy and a lot of fear about stuff, and over time I've grown to become more calm in general. So it has just freed up so much time for me to get back to people when it's convenient for me and not just because they expect an answer. I really recommend this. Texting, even emails, calls. If I don't need to call somebody back, I don't. If there's a task that I can have someone else do, I try to delegate it. This is going to free up a lot of time, which leads me to my next point. This is something I learned from a book about high net worths and CEOs, and a rule that a lot of them apply, which is the touch it once rule. This goes for emails and text. So let's say you're getting some work done and you finally log into your email to check what's been going on that day. The touch it once rule says the moment that you read the email is when you respond. So, if you're not on your email all day and then you check in at, let's say, 6 p.m., everything that has come into your inbox, you respond immediately if you're able to. What wastes time is for you to read it, go do something else, think about it, maybe read it again, go have some dinner, read it again, and then respond. You've wasted like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of thinking and reading time when you could have just sent a quick response as soon as you read it. So I've started to do that. Again, it was tough to implement. It felt very bold. It felt very like, who do I think I am? Just responding as soon as I read. But the more I've done it, the more I find it really does save time. So the touch it once rule for email is really helpful. Something else that I invite you to try on is delegating or declining anything that is not your responsibility. I find that as a woman, this is revolutionary. Delegating or declining anything that is not your responsibility and not taking on additional responsibility that you have not agreed to. It happens all the time where we are, just humans in general. Let's take gender out of it. In film and TV, we are often asked to take on things that are not part of our purview. And it could also be in the home. It could be within your family. And once you start discovering the power of no, it's extraordinary. If you know that your time is valuable and you have a certain price point on your hourly rate, you can keep that in mind if that's helpful. Of like, well, normally I make $50 an hour. This person's asking me to do ABC, and that's just not worth $50 an hour. So my answer is no. Or, well, I could have my assistant do it for $20 an hour. Instead of me trying to control it, my time is worth $50 an hour. So it just doesn't make sense. I'm going to have my assistant do it, right? So delegating as much as possible to try and free up more of your time and mental space. Something else that has really saved a lot of time for me, probably 2 hours a day, honestly, just this alone, is saying no to social engagements that detract from my energy. So that could be parties, it could be meetups, it could be coffees. Right now it's dates. I'm just saying no, 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 like a machine gun. And it's saving me so much time. Like, these dating apps, and you're on an app and on a first date, and usually it's bad. I'm not saying they're all bad, but usually, like, I've found myself thinking, I could be building my business right now. I could be screenwriting right now. I would more enjoy screenwriting than this awful cocktail that I'm having with this person that the conversation is so boring. So I've just gotten in the habit of either not going out at all with new people, or if something is no longer fun, I just leave. Party is no longer fun, I leave. Say goodbye, or maybe not. Maybe I just leave. And I get so much energy back from taking control of my social experiences and, not being a jerk about it, but politely saying no. Nope, I gotta go. Bye. Thanks so much. Bye. So learning how to say no, learning how to say bye, and really preserving your energy is a revolution that I just cannot recommend enough. All right, the last thing that I'm going to recommend for how to add 2 hours to your day, it's going to kind of bring this full circle, but I just love a nap. I love a nap. I recommend napping. I think you should nap. You should nap. You have full permission from me for whatever that is worth. Because here's the thing. We've established that sleep is critical. And maybe I didn't establish it enough with scientific studies, but they are out there. If you sleep, you actually, whenever you fall asleep, you flush all of the toxins and detritus that you have built up over the course of the day thinking. You flush them out of your brain with your spinal fluid. I think of it as flushing the toilet. Even like a 2-minute nap, laying in bed and you're like, oh, I only have 5 minutes before I have to get up again. Is this even going to do any good? I think of that little 2-minute nap as a flush of the toilet, because I do wake up and it feels like, oh my God, I can actually think more clearly now. After like 90 seconds of sleep, that's so weird. If I start the day with 100 units of energy, by 3 p.m., I'm down to, let's say, 50 units of energy until I go to sleep. If I take a nap, a 30-minute nap, I can regain 10 to 20 units of energy, it feels like. And I'm able to basically almost restart my day back to 11 a.m. and how much energy I had at 11. So just logically, napping makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. You will get more done, and you're going to gain productivity and quality of work much higher volume than the time that it took you to nap. Now, of course, there's exceptions. Like I know of people who they lay down for a 30-minute nap and they're out for 4 hours and then their entire night's sleep is disrupted. We're not really talking about that. That's kind of a different issue, but I think if you can squeeze in, 5 to 60 minutes in the middle of your day, depending on what your sleep cycle calls for, that's only going to help you and is nothing to be ashamed of. That's obviously if you have a job that allows you to do so. If you're working in a corporation, falling asleep at your desk, well, I can't help you there. I hope that these tips were helpful to you for how to add 2 hours to your day. And if we did successfully add 2 hours to your day, I really want to hear about it. So drop me a DM and let me know at Misha Calvert on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening to Film on Tape. I really hope that it was helpful to you in some way. And if so, please feel free to leave a 5-star review so that other people know this is a good podcast. If you want to check out my work as a writer-director, you can see it at www.mishacalvert.com or drop me a DM. The best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram at Misha Calvert. See you next time.